Hello, everyone, and welcome. We are live. It's breaking news. JT Miller is going to the New York Rangers. So welcome. If you're watching on YouTube, I welcome you there. If you're watching on X, I welcome you there. Just getting everything loaded up. I'm using the last half an hour of work to do this. Hopefully I won't get in trouble, but I think my boss would understand because this is massive. So just give me a couple seconds, you guys, to get everything set up, and then we will be running. And I want to get your instant reaction to this massive trade. I was always saying, can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me okay? I know this is kind of a different setup tonight, but just make sure that you guys can hear me. And let me know. Let me know. I'm going to share my screen and I'm just going to keep refreshing it as we go. But welcome once again, JT Miller getting traded to the New York Rangers. So make sure, actually I can just check on my own here if indeed you can hear the sound and everything. Okay, yeah, I can hear. Okay, all right, so let's go. We're good with sound, that's good. Then we can just start highlighting what's going on. And we're just gonna keep refreshing Twitter as we go so we can kind of, yeah, this is the way we'll do it. So we got Elliotte Friedman saying trade call pending. Vancouver will be trading JT Miller to the Rangers. Yeah, so Frank Cervelli saying the same thing. Trade call is in the works. Multiple pieces of both sides as part of the package. Elliotte Friedman is saying trade call pending. So a couple of the bigger ones I've seen where it talks about, yeah, Frank Cervelli here saying, sounds like other Canucks pieces and prospects are going with Miller to the Rangers as part of a package. Larger deal this time around. Well, no kidding. So we're just going to keep refreshing. I have like Elliotte Friedman. I have Jeff Patterson, Brendan Batchelor, Chris Johnson. You can see kind of the ones. It's kind of a sneak peek back into my X. Just seeing who I have basically notifications. So it's a big one. It's Cervelli, it's Friedman, then Pierre LeBrun. So I'll just keep refreshing this and we'll see. Nothing, we don't know of anything so far, but as we wait for details, we can just kind of, everyone knows here. Everyone knows here how we got to this point. Everyone knows here that this situation was becoming untenable, and really the rumors started back in November. Actually, the rumors started way back in October when there was apparently a dust-up at Canucks practice. And then apparently there was a small scuffle, and it was Miller calling PD a baby, apparently. So this is how I'm going to hide this, you guys, until we see some more details. So we know this started back in October at least a scuffle in practice, and then we had heard a couple things throughout the past few years, how they weren't the best of friends, so on and so forth. But then November, JT Miller went on his leave that took basically about just over under 4 weeks, 10 games worth. Then I guess and then on December 21st, and I remember this because I was on my way for my cruise, PD, Miller, Tocchet, Hughes, they all addressed the media on that day. And then, okay, here, so actually we can talk about the background in a second. I want to get you to what we see on Twitter or X. So it says here, Farhan Lalji, hearing that Filip Chytil is part of the return, other additional pieces going both ways. So Filip Chytil being part, then it says here, defenseman Victor Mancini has been scratched by the Wolfpack. Interesting. Who else has been scratched so far? Victor Mancini. So three different people talked about a defenseman named Victor Mancini being a late scratch for the Hartford Wolfpack, who is the Rangers minor league team. So we're just gonna keep refreshing this. I wonder if there's a better way to do this, but we'll keep refreshing this. But that's what I see as part. So you see I have Drager, Harmon, Thomas Drance, Pierre. So interesting. And I'll pull up some stats on Filip Chytil right now as we're waiting. let's see if I do this here. Filip Chytil stats. Hey Parker, should I get off this and then let you, or I should just bring you on? Okay, now I got people calling my cell phone. Parker, you know what? This is bad. I'll admit that I didn't ask Parker if I could use the account. I'm not sure if he wanted to, but you know what I can do is I'm not going to go for too long here, just until they get their details down, and then we will go from there. Actually, you know, I'm going to message Parker because you guys are seeing this live. Yes, I will stop and let's do one. Okay, this is what we're going to do, guys. I'm going to get off of this show right now, and Parker and I are going to do a show. Oh, Parker says you're fine. Yeah, okay, Parker, let's do a show at 10 tonight then. You're okay? So this is how Parker and I are brothers, but I admit I jumped on here without even checking with them first. So Parker, just making sure, you tell me. Parker, you can tell me live either on the text or in the chat. Do you want to do our show now? And I will happily get off, or do you want me to just bring you on this one with me now, actually? Because we already have 1,800 people in here. Okay, last thing, Parker, I'm willing to do a show at 10. Do you want to just jump on this show right now on my channel? Let me know, Parker, and I'll bring you on right now. I just got to whip up my earbuds. Parker, let's do it. You ready to go? I'm going to give you 2 minutes, and then I'm going to get you into the show. How's that? You guys, this is really professional. I'm negotiating with my podcast partner right in front of all of you. Okay, so give me 2 seconds, you guys. Keep talking. Here's Filip Chytil stats, but you know what? We'll do that in a second. Let's go back to, I know you guys are saying, maybe Clay, you're jumping the gun, but no, when everyone is talking about, okay, so Cam Robinson right now is saying it's going to be Chytil, Mancini, and a first-round pick. So that's what Cam Robinson says. Chytil, Mancini, and a first-round pick. We can talk about all those things in a second. I'm going to get my earbuds ready. Again, you're seeing this live on the fly. And then Parker can beat me up later. All right, let's see. So I got to send this, the link to Parker. So talk in the chat. I'm going to leave that up there, that Cam Robinson saying it's Chytil, Mancini, and a first-round pick. Got to copy this. Got to send this to Parker now. And then, Parker, if you're still watching, I'm sending it to you on X. I don't even know if you're on there anymore, but I'm sending you the link. Or I think you can just join, actually. Never mind. What am I talking about? But let me do this now. Okay, jump on. Oh, he's here. He's here. All right. Parker, you ready to go? All right. Let's stop the sharing. I just got to make sure that I can hear you. Give me 2 seconds. So I'm going to bring on my partner from Canucks After Dark. He can beat me up in the stream. Oh, man. This is a good learning lesson. Here we go. Parker.
Hello. Oh, I shouldn't be hitting the buttons. This is your show.
Okay. Let me get rid of one. No, it's not my. This is why I feel bad. No, here. Hold on. Okay. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can still. This is a quick guest appearance. We can do it 10 p.m. if you want later.
I'm happy to do 10 p.m. and I'm going to say in front of 2,000 people here, I apologize for just jumping on without inviting you on.
No, you're fine. I was at the gym. You can see I'm really not prepared for this.
Well, look at me. I'm waiting for my boss to walk in my office door. Okay. Well, I'm glad we're brothers, that we're good. And yes, let's do 10 p.m. tonight as well. Okay.
Excellent.
If this is true, if it's Filip Chytil, Victor Vancina, and our first-round pick, if that's the truth, what's your reaction?
Yeah, so it looks like we're also sending over Erik Brannstrom. And Jackson Dorrington, which is a name I've never even heard, but apparently it was in our system.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's underwhelming, isn't it?
Yes. But we knew that was going to be the case. Yeah.
Is that pick a first? Do we know that? or do we know what that pick is? Or
yeah,
protected first round pick.
Okay, so that means
that's
that they
nice.
make
That's ammo at the very least.
Yep.
Yeah, Chytil doesn't excite me a ton. I mean, he's still young. He's 25. He's a half a point a game player, right? He's going to put up 20 goals. He's going to, be a fine low end 2C, high end 3C. Probably can, play some power play 2. The team absolutely gets worse today, though, right? I think that's pretty clear. And from my perspective, it's really, it all comes down to, does Elias Pettersson come out tonight and put up 4 points? Right? Is everything fixed? That's going to be the real key to this being a success.
Isn't it funny how? Isn't it funny how Jim Rutherford? We were questioning his motivation, right? That interview that came out with Gary Mason in the Globe and Mail, and people were, well, I know I was questioning. I said, but a lot of people said he is basically setting expectations and actually, admittedly, setting them low. He's probably got a deal in the works or close, and then when it breaks, then he can at least go back to this interview and say, hey, I tried to warn you. And sure enough, didn't he say, we're not going to get a 1C, not that it was breaking news, but we're not going to get a 1C back. It's a 2C, it's a 3C, and that's exactly how you described Filip Chytil.
Yeah, and I think that's about the best we can expect. I'm happy there's a first in there just from if you then want to go and flip a guy, right? If you want to say, okay, now we need a great number 2C, maybe Chytil and a protected New York Rangers first gets you a better 2C. Not JT Miller, but if the situation with JT Miller was untenable, at the very least, it's going to be a bit less of a hit. And by all accounts, sounds like this isn't the only move the Canucks have in the works, right? It wasn't a simple, we're just going to get rid of JT Miller and everything's fixed. It's going to be, there's a real chance Chytil doesn't play a game for the Canucks. We'll see what happens, but I wouldn't be too surprised.
Sure. I'm just putting this banner across right now so then people can see what's going on there. Canucks trade JT Miller, Erik Brannstrom, and I spelled Jackson's name wrong. See, this is what happens when who's Jackson Dorrington? And Jackson Dorrington to the Rangers for Phil. Yeah,
Jackson Dorrington, 6th round pick by the Canucks back in 2022. Been playing at Northeastern in the NCAA.
Yeah.
Hasn't been, it's tough with college defensemen to use their numbers as anything. But last year, 12 points in 33 games. This year, 10 points in 23. So pretty, a slight uptick points per game wise, low penalty minute guy. But again, you never know what his defensive numbers look like. We don't have any analytics and stuff like that.
Sure.
It's, I wouldn't worry too much about Jackson Dorrington being a piece that's getting moved. Nor would I worry about Erik Brannstrom, a guy that we waived a week or two ago, right? In reality, this is a one piece for the Canucks, right? Brannstrom probably wasn't playing many more games in a Canucks uniform unless a lot of injuries came up. And now with Elias Pettersson being decent, I think they're happy to go that route. So really it's Miller for Chytil, Mancini, and a protected first. And I don't know anything about Mancini. I know it's an Italian sounding name, which is always fun.
Yeah, I see. You're saying it way better than me. I'm saying Mancini, but that's great. As you look him up, I just want to welcome everyone. Basically, Parker, I'm not sure if you saw it. When I turned it on, everything was in a disarray, and I just said, hey, let's start talking about this. So very quickly, I'm Clay Emo. This is Parker Hollywell. He's Parker's Pucks. I am Canuck Clay. We generally do a show called Canucks After Dark together every Monday night. We have our own YouTube channels, and we share a StreamYard account of which Parker generously lets me use. But I forgot to tell him that I was going to use it. So
that's okay.
So we're doing my show. Thank you, Parker. You're so gracious. So we're doing my show now for a little bit, and then Parker and I will do another show tonight. Once it will be a post-game show, it'll be a trade recap show, and that'll be tonight at 10 o'clock on the Canucks After Dark channel. So Parker, thanks on short notice for your understanding and for coming on here with me. What do we know about Victor Mancini or Mancini?
22-year-old, will be 23 in May. Sort of a true 22-year-old since he's got a summer birthday. Right shot defenseman, always nice. He was a 5th round pick back in 2022. A handful of picks before Jackson Dorrington. It's 176, 159, so 17 picks before.
Okay.
Jackson Dorrington. Played college hockey at University of Nebraska Omaha. Got a few AHL games last year. Got 7 games, had 3 assists, and sort of made it for their playoff run in Hartford. Played 10 games in the playoffs, had 3 apples. Then this year he's played 23 games in Hartford, and they were literally in warm-up on the ice, and he got pulled from the warm-up, which is how everyone knew that he was involved first. He played 23 games in Hartford this year, 3 goals, 7 assists for 10 points. He's a -7, which isn't a great sign, but I don't know if Hartford's any good. That's always a tough bit. Like, I'm looking at their team plus minuses, a lot of deep negatives. So he's not the worst guy on the plus minus side of things. But 10 points, and he's gotten a call up. He's played 15 games in the NHL. He played 15 games for the Rangers, goal and 4 assists in those 15 games, and was a -3. But the Rangers haven't been great. So he's got a little NHL experience. Right shot defenseman, 6'3", 230. So he's pretty sizable, and probably projects to be at a ceiling a third pairing guy.
Right. So right shot, big guy, probably on Hartford's top pair. Done a call up, and you I agree with you. Yeah, this is some depth on the right side, but at least he's so young. Derek, I'm not sure Derek knows a lot about the Rangers or knows about him, but he says Mancini is good. He knows very good, as we know about concussion issue. We know that, but that's good. At least one other person is saying Mancini. I'm going to call him Mancini. You can call him Mancini. That he is good. I want to talk about the protected first. Does that mean basically, if it's protected, that means it's probably a choice of a couple years, right? That's usually what happens. If it's too high, it'll jump to the next year, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And I will say, we just came through. No money being retained on JT Miller's contract.
Okay,
which is fantastic.
That's good.
And then, of course, that first round pick, like you mentioned, can be used as a flip. Protected first, we don't know the details. Usually it's a lottery protection. It might be top 5. It might be top 10. The thought being, hey, if the Rangers miss the playoffs, and they might have it just lottery protected, meaning top 16, they get the choice to move to next year. Or it could be top 5 protected, top 10 protected, where if they move up in the lottery to the top 5, let's say, they would then have the choice to defer that pick to next year.
Right.
But then it would become unprotected at that point, unless they had some weird terms. But I don't think we've ever seen that before.
But that whole protected, unprotected thing, it's kind of funny because you get into a guessing game and you're basically, if you don't take the pick this year, you're betting, banking, hoping, praying that the Rangers suck even more next year.
Yeah, you're hoping JT Miller sucks for them.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's a great point. One other thing I want to talk about first round pick, and I've seen other people talking about, like the Brendan Batchelor already talked about it. We know 2 years ago when Horvat got traded to the Islanders, it was Beauvillier, a player, it was Aturatu, a prospect, and it was a first round pick that came back. Basically 3 pieces. Then ultimately that first round pick was used in the Filip Chytil deal, and we know how well it's turned out for the Canucks. We got our number 1 right shot guy, 8-year extension, all those things. This has got to be the play, isn't it? It's got to be.
I think so. That first, unless the wheels fall off this team and they lose every game going into the Four Nations, as of right now, they're teetering on that playoff spot. If they can, if they win the next couple games, or what's it, 5 games or 6 games left until the break? We're at 5 now. So if they win 3 of them, they're sitting in a playoff spot. Yeah, I bet they use that pick, especially because it's not theirs, right? The risk isn't really in their hands. On like, if we make the playoffs, or we miss the playoffs and that pick wins the lottery, it's a big deal. I do want to. I got an analytics card here for Chytil if we want to take a look at that as well.
Yeah, I'd love to. So can you share too, or?
I think so.
Okay, give me 1 sec as you pull it up. I won't do the whole goal horn for the sake of time, but I want to recognize Knuckleback, 3-month membership. I never liked him, but I'll definitely miss him. I think you're talking about Miller, not me. Thank you, Knuckleback. Legendary Lucas Gates just messaged you an update. Okay, I'll check that, Lucas. Thank you. Hall of Fame member Justin Credible. PD better be McKinnon Light and McDavid Light now that the supposed Wicked Witch is gone. No excuses for PD. Those are strong words, Justin. And Justin also with the $5 donation. Thank you, Justin. Her PD won't play versus Dallas tonight either. He'll be at the airport making sure JT gets him there. Very funny. At least you mean he's driving to the airport or he's riding transit with them? So Justin, Lucas, and Knuckleback, thank you for your generosity. You guys, if you do highlighted comments or super chats, member messages, I'll get to them when I can throughout the stream. Thank you very much to all of you. Okay, go for it.
All right, so this was just tweeted out by Shayna Goldman. This is everything sort of percentile based. We've got a lot of good metrics here. So 25-year-old center, 6'2", 204. Obviously, only played 10 games last year, right, with that concussion issue. So that's always tough. 3.7 sort of, 3.7 market value, 4.4 actual salary. It's just basically saying he's worth slightly less than the salary he gets paid. But I bet JT Miller is too right now. So everything here is percentile based offensively, 56th percentile, forecasted, 20 goals, 20 assists ish. On ice offense at 5-on-5, really good numbers that we see here, right? 81st percentile, but doesn't have a very high difficulty of opponents, and isn't very good on the power play. So that's something to keep in mind. I think the Canucks are going to start getting to the point where PP1 runs a minute and a half anyways, and I don't think Chytil will be on that unit. Defensively, not great. Draws more penalties than he takes, which is good. But while he's on the ice defensively, things haven't been fantastic. Now, again, kind of like JT Miller, but without the offensive upside. So looks to be, your standard low end 2C.
Right. So does that mean, and by the way, James is saying, I think it means your pronunciation, but Parker's enunciation, that's a church term, but pronunciation is correct. I think you're talking about the Mancini, right? Not the Chytil, because I think we're saying Chytil the same thing. Okay. So does that mean, newsflash, it's when everyone's healthy, we're PD, Chytil, Suter, Bluger down the middle now? Is that basically what we're looking at?
Yeah, I guess so. Unless, well, now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, well, maybe do they use that first on a 2C, or do they use it on a second pairing defenseman? Right. That's right. And I think that's probably the bigger need.
Right. But for Sunday, let's say the trade doesn't happen right away. For Sunday against Detroit, we could be looking at that down the middle. PD, Chytil.
I think so.
Suter, Bluger.
I think that sounds right. Unless you do some shifting and you move Carlson down or do something along those lines and have him as 4C. But that's true. I think Chytil comes in. Obviously, Ratu will play tonight, I think is sort of the gimme there. But I think Chytil slots right in. I could also see them running Suter as 2, Chytil as 3. As he sort of gets acclimatized to the group.
Wow. Okay, so let's step back and tonight we'll learn more about the details. Maybe we'll learn more about the protection, and we'll have you're always calm. I'm just a spaz right now. I'm just making sure my boss doesn't come and knock on my door, but I'll stop saying that. When you take a step back now, the return seems underwhelming, Parker, but that also we've been conditioned to expect this, not just from Jim Rutherford, but that's simply how it goes. You're not going to get value for value back, and it could be a bunch of moving parts. As a Canucks fan, not even as a content creator, Parker, as a Canucks fan, how are you feeling right now?
I mean, the fact that we've been sort of conditioned to it for a while, I think helps. Yeah. I think if this just came out of the blue, I'd be kind of shocked and frustrated. But we talked about it being if it's what gets Pettersson to work, you could trade Miller for nothing, and it's probably worth it, right? Because you clear up that $8 million for the next or this year and 6 more or 5 more afterwards. But my hopes on that aren't super high, right? I think there's some knee issue there. That's a bit more of a culprit. The first really helps, especially because I definitely think they're going to flip that. I think from a net value perspective, the Canucks didn't get it's not as bad as it maybe thought it might be. We were hoping for a Lafreniere or something. But getting that first means you might be able to go flip that somewhere else. And now the Canucks have cap space, right? You go from the $8 million of Miller to 4.4 on Chytil, right? That's another top 13 protected. Thanks, Justin.
Thank you, Justin.
Very helpful.
Yeah.
And again, usually if it's within that, they can choose to give it anyways, if they don't want to defer to next year. So yeah, I think the team's worse today, but they can use that first round pick to, again, add on the back end, right? And then suddenly your top 4 becomes, Hughes, Hronek, Myers, and whoever you trade this first for. Chytil is a 2C, which isn't great, but I think your 3C and 4C are quite good and make up for it. I think your wingers are all right. it could make this a little bit more of a cohesive team in the long run.
Yes, yes. Okay, so that's a really good answer, actually, because you just didn't freak out and say, gosh, they didn't do well in this deal, because the two things that will be kind of like the secondary sidebars or the asterisks are, the Canucks did not retain any salary, and as Justin pointed out, and people are starting to report now, top 13 protected. So just so everyone can understand that, basically, if the Rangers finish in the bottom 13 spots, basically out of the playoffs this year, the Canucks cannot get their first. They likely won't get the Rangers pick. Is that correct? And they'll get whatever they get for the second year of the next 2 years. Yeah. Okay. With the Rangers, do they have a choice of not protecting it if they don't want to, or is it automatically protected?
Yeah, no, they'll usually get that option. So if it ended up being 12th overall, they would get the decision of saying, actually, let's just give this one instead of next year's, because it does become a flat unprotected the following year. I think Ottawa did this a few years back. I don't remember the exact details, but there was something where it was like they had until like X amount of hours before the draft to make that call. And obviously, if it does end up being 12th overall, if you're the Rangers and you aren't sure what next year's going to look like, and you might be in the lottery next year, right? You want to give up the current pick. So we'll see.
This is way better, man, having your good-looking face on here than me trying to scroll through tweets in front of everyone. This is awesome. So thank you for joining. Rick Dollywell says they're not retaining, and they already have $5.2 million in dead money on the cap next year. And that's, of course, Oliver Ekman-Larsson's buyout that keeps going up and up every single year, right? Yeah.
At least the cap's going up.
Yeah, it's too bad everyone else gets the same cap increase as we've talked about too.
Yeah.
What else are you seeing out there? What else? Okay. Yeah, Chris Johnson saying the 2020 is top 13. Should it land that high, the pick converts to an unprotected 2026 first rounder. Exactly how you explained it. Very good.
Man,
very good.
Puckpedia is good. They've got this trade
They're updated
analysis page that's already that breaks everything down. That's pretty cool. Shows you cap hit differences, how that affects, annually, how it affects current year. So it adds another 1.4 million for current year, because obviously everything's prorated at this point. Canucks, the draft pick has a value, which is kind of tough to compare to everything else. Where are the Rangers right now? Are they kicking around the playoff spot still?
Yeah, they went on a run. They had a horrible December, and they had a great January. By the way, you understand all these Jay Frisch cards, right?
Yep.
If I put it up, could you explain it to us?
Let's do it.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to, while you're up there, I'm also going to put up this thing. Okay, can you see it? Or do I make it bigger?
I can now. If you can, make it a bit bigger there. All right. So Filip Chytil, you got numbers on the top. We'll start on the top right and the bottom right on those graphs. Okay. So those are and obviously there's no 23-24 number because he only played 10 games. But wins above replacement percentile is basically at his position, he is better than, or he's performed better than X amount of players. So in 22-23, that dot's around like 60%. And at this year, it's probably around 70%. So he's, top 30% centers in the NHL in the theory, compared to a replacement level player. And then at the bottom right, you have those same values for offense, defense, and finishing. You can see this year, his offense has had a nice uptick. His defense has been atrocious. So that's something that I'm sure Rick Tocchet will absolutely love. And then the left side is all projecteds. So that is for, based on the last 3 years of data that they have on him, how is that going to, or where do they project that he will be over the next, X amount of time? And my camera has broken because guess what? I fixed my computer.
That's right.
So we're back to the broken camera.
We'll try it. We'll fix it after. Yeah.
So basically saying, he's projected to be 65th percentile overall, which, matches up being 60 and 70 in those 2 years. Offensively, 72nd percentile. Defensively, at even strength, 14th percentile. So not very good defensively. Not very good on the power play, matching similar to what Shayna's card said. Good finishing, right? Decently high shooting percentage. Good playmaking, right? That first assist box right there being 91st percentile. That's great. That penalties, as we said, he draws quite a bit more than he takes, like an Elias Pettersson does. So that helps a little bit. But like we saw in that last card as well, doesn't play against top competition very often. And that might be something he's asked to do a little bit more here, right? Obviously, they do have the Bluger and the Suter lines to take on the tough competition. But JT Miller was a matchup guy, right? We saw JT Miller go against McDavid in the playoffs last year and in the recent games against Edmonton. So that's that's a critical loss.
Yeah, no problem. And thank you for walking us through that. And I know you're trying to fix your camera, so thank you. Thanks to everyone who's in here, and thank you for you can always like the stream. You can support me that way. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and don't forget Parker and I are going to continue this conversation this evening at 10 p.m. where we'll be on the proper Canucks After Dark channel, and we'll be doing some trade analysis, and we'll be doing, of course, a post-game show. So a bonus Friday night episode. So Parker, if you're good, we'll take this to 5 o'clock to puck drop, basically at the start of the broadcast. If you can you do 20 more minutes? You okay?
Yeah, I can stick around, I think.
Okay.
Let me check.
Well, do what you got to do. I mean, yeah.
I'll probably jump. We'll reconvene at 10.
Okay.
We'll have, and then that way I can have some more time to collect my thoughts, and then
perfect.
And that gives the people something to wait for. Both of us back together, 10 o'clock.
like that.
YouTube.com/Canucks After Dark. It'll be on Clay's Twitter as well.
Yes,
so make
awesome.
sure you're subscribed over there, and I'll throw it back in the chat here, and it'll look like you've sent it.
Well, you're so fast. So did you want to jump now then? And then
we'll jump now.
We'll come back at 10. Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for your forgiveness.
All good.
We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Parker.
All right. Bye.
All right, that was Parker's Pucks, my partner in crime, owner of the StreamYard channel, and I'm glad that he did not fire me from Canucks After Dark. So we'll be getting together at 10 o'clock tonight for some more analysis. So now a bit more time is just me. I can actually delve into some of your questions and comments. But basically right now, Parker's amazing. He's very, very composed. He's basically the opposite of me, Adrian, and that's why we get along so well. So as I write this, you guys, how did the Canucks do in the trade? Very well. Very well. Okay. Just okay. Now, before you guys vote, they got fleeced. Well, you can do whatever you want, but just remember, along with Miller, Brannstrom, and Dorrington for Chytil, Mancini, and protected top 13 pick, they also didn't retain any salary. So I don't know if that moves the needle for you guys at all, or you might say that doesn't matter. That's something that is an extraneous factor for all of you. So let's recap. Welcome everyone back and do a proper. So I'll go for 20 more minutes. I'll stop at 5. And then I'll let you guys do what you need to do to get ready to watch the game. So welcome everyone. I am Clay Emo Canuck Clay. This is obviously my Canucks take all in one take because I pressed record even before I had everything set up. I'm still at my office, used my last half an hour of my workday to do this live stream. But this is big news, and I had the equipment here. Not my regular camera, not my regular light, not my regular mic, but enough to make it work. Most importantly, I just want to jump on and be here immediately. Not to be the first one to break the news, because I wasn't the one breaking the news, but I wanted to be among the first to react to the news. So you can subscribe to the channel. You can like the video. This is what I always say on all my streams. You can leave a donation like Justin has done. Thank you. You can gift a membership, buy your own membership, upgrade your own membership, or use your monthly membership messages. And I will certainly highlight those for the last 20 minutes as we go. Okay, I'm glad that you guys are all here. I'm glad that Parker joined me. And again, we are going to reconvene at 10 o'clock tonight for our Canucks After Dark emergency show, which will be post-game recap and will be more trade recap. Calvin says, "Not going to lie, Clay, you are the first." Well, I don't know if I was the first to jump on. I guess I don't want to get in the race of whoever's first on YouTube or whatever, but it just lined up that way where I'm actually going out for dinner at 7 o'clock downtown, so I'll be home just in time to do that 10 o'clock show tonight. But yeah, all the big reporters are reporting it, and all the content creators are figuring out how to cover it. So now I can properly highlight some of your donations and things as well. Let's give some love to Spartan. Spartan with a $5 donation. Thank you. Trade Besser in a first for a good D, and then take a run at Rantanen next year. Sorry, I had the goal horn on repeat. Trade Besser in a first for a good D, then run at Rantanen. I don't know. Will Rantanen want to come here? But that is very interesting. Let's give some love in the chat to a Spartan, and properly. It happened pretty quick. So thank you to Justin once again for the earlier donation, and thank you to Knuckleback, Lucas, and Justin for the membership messages earlier tonight. The other thing I was going to do real quick is I can put this on the bottom now and have it scrolling so I can properly show your, I can properly show all of your comments. So how do I get this scrolling? Okay, here we go. Oh, you know why? Okay, here we go. There, now we should be in business. All right, I'm gonna get to some of your comments. Let's go for the next 15 minutes. I won't rush, but I will try and do it all together. And I will show one last thing before I get to all of your comments. So Frank Cervelli shares, kind of shares the whole thing. Full trade details to the Rangers, JT Miller, Erik Brannstrom, and Jackson Dorrington, and that's what I have on the bottom. To the Canucks, Filip Chytil, Victor Mancini, 2025 first-round pick, which is top 13 protected. That means if the Rangers' first-round pick is in the first 13 picks, they will likely keep it, and then we get whatever their first-round pick in 2026 is. No salary retained on Miller, and here it is, if the Rangers pick is in the top 13, pick transfers to 2026. I just don't know if the Rangers have an option on that or that it has to get transferred. Knuckleback, let's give Knuckleback some love, gifting a Canuck Clay membership. So Knuckleback's membership, thank you, goes to Robo or Robo. I'm going with Robo because it's R-O-B-O. So thank you, Knuckleback, for the generosity. Let's give some love to Knuckleback in the chat. We'll give a warm welcome to Robo or Robo. Okay, here we go. So legendary Lucas Gates, knowing we've seen something like this before, and anyone remember when we landed Horvat? That was a secondary deal following the Horvat trade. Oh, sorry, when we landed Horvat. Yes, Lucas, thank you. We brought that up earlier, that we got Beauvillier, Ratu, and a first, and that first helped turned into Hronik. And very similar, this is like, Chytil is the Beauvillier, Mancini is like the Ratu, and the first round pick is the first round pick. Crazy Mike says Chytil is injury prone, so not sure how tradable he is. All right, that is fair. If PD doesn't form now, he's going to be gone too. Yeah, it doesn't mean that we're not going to trade PD as well. That first round pick is not staying. PA is not done. I agree. Chytil and Mancini do not have no move clauses. That is good. So funny being traded after scoring a classic center goal. Who are you talking about? Chytil or Miller? Who scored the classic goal? Clue, wonderful to see you with the donation. Let's give some love to Clue in the chat. Clue with the $5 donation. Let's give Clue some love. Good reporting, Clay. I'm not thrilled, but no salary retention is nice. You know, I've been going nonstop for the last 45 minutes. I got to pop up one of these. You guys knew that it was going to be a Pepsi, of course. Hope I just didn't spoil my appetite for tonight. Simon, my opinion on this trade. Actually, I've been just talking about it like a Parker talk. I'm okay with it. I think I've been conditioned, I've been set up to not expect the best return ever. And I think this could be, actually, this is my first time I actually expressing my opinion. This could be a good example of addition by subtraction. Meaning, yeah, we got some assets back. We know that Patrick Allvin and Jim Rutherford aren't done wheeling and dealing. And addition by subtraction, maybe there's going to be better chemistry, better motivation. I just regret that I dropped PD in my fantasy pool. He does make a lot of money, though. I still have Miller, so we'll see how Miller does with the Rangers. This trade will be interesting, hoping PD plays a lot better now. Big trades on January 31st. That's right. That's right. PD to Buffalo, Demko to Toronto. Yikes. Canucks are now officially in the market for a 1C and a 2C. Coke is better. Hey, we've had this discussion already. Pepsi needs to start sponsoring you. Well, they sort of did when I was on their billboard 2 years ago. That was the whole point. Regular Pepsi, always Canadian. So we're less offensive now? Yeah, literally and figuratively. Not keeping salaries big? Yes, I agree with you. So Lucas thinks we did as well as we could. Imagining finishing a hockey romance book to find out Miller is being traded. Why, you're reading a hockey romance book? What's that? Trade Clay's Pepsi to New York for JT Miller. Oh, get him back? DeBrus, EP, Besser. EP, Besser need to perform huge now or else Patrick will move both. I'm calling it. If Besser's not worth 8. Wow. What will I remember about JT during his time here? Lots of things. I'll remember his monster play last year in the playoffs and in his 100-point season. I remember his outbursts, his bad defense, his whacking the crossbar behind, who was our goaltender at the time? It wasn't DeSmith, it was the other guy. Behind our goaltenders, was it DeSmith? No, who's our other, Colin Delia's head? He was pretty good in the community, like in terms of doing a lot of things for the community. Wasn't the nicest, most approachable when it came to media and fans. So overall, I thought it was good. I remember I did a vlog, not a live stream, on the day we acquired him in 2019 because I was at day 2 of the NHL draft. So those are some of the things that I remember. But he, a lot of goals, a lot of good play, great passer, great competitor, all of those things for sure. All right, what else we got? It had to happen. What do I want to do? Yeah, I want them to package it for another good player that's going to help us now. Who's the sheriff now? Maybe it's Quinn Hughes, a quiet sheriff. Alfred needs to announce the JT Miller trade, SkyTrain style. He is very good at that. All right, guys, for the last 10 minutes, I'm going to go questions only and highlight any super chats or anything like that as well. So I'll go questions only just because of we only got 10 minutes. Actually, no, I have time. I can still look around. Drury has been in the hot seat in New York. Had to do something. Good point. Who's the vocal heart of the team right now? Maybe it's a guy like Sherwood. I don't know. Good point. Pepsi is better. I agree. I would never say that. You know, Pastor Dan, you know me. I can't say that word. I will never be on Team T. So Rick's not happy. At least we don't have another OEL. Who's going to win face-off? So yeah, a lot of people saying not so happy with Colin Delia. Thank you. JT Miller is older. Bad trade. JT's built for the playoffs. You're going to do some research. Thank you, GGLL. How do we use our new cap space? That's a great point. That's why you can use that first for a trade. Great point. Great point about the cap space. Get good players and it can be a good trade. Absolutely. I made Clay go, wow. Besser for $8 million plus is a hot take. Well, I don't think we should sign him. Would I do PD for Byron, Cousins, and a pick? Yeah, if it's all 3 of those things. But I've heard it might not be all 3 of those things. Are these New York Rangers worth it 3 for 3? Shouldn't JT Miller command? No. Yu-Gi-Oh! I liken it more to the Horvat trade where Horvat got 3 assets as well. I think JT gave us thoughts. Rutherford, shame on you. If PD and Demko are gone, it wouldn't surprise me. We'll see. We'll see. Quinn's a quiet leader. At least Quinn will be able to play with JT in the 4 Nations. Likely it will be, who's the guy they just called up? Aturatu, which is interesting because we were just talking about, about the Islanders trade. Yeah, Rev Trevor's team JT for sure. Back when Miro left was personal leave. How do you think the team looked without him? I thought they were okay. They weren't great, but they're fine. They were fine. And that was kind of like who knew that was going to be a prelude to what happens now. Would you ever trade EP for JT 1-for-1? Oh, that's a great question. I would. It's not because I don't like JT Miller, but I do see Pettersson's, like if it was 1-for-1, I would do that trade. I would do that trade, like meaning keeping EP. Yeah, so yeah, we can't say right now who won the trade, but you can certainly have an opinion on it. I agree, so many shows. It depends what happens with the draft picks, et cetera, et cetera. But in the poll, 51% of you said they just did okay. 39% of you said they got fleeced. 9% saying very well. No, I don't like Ryan O'Reilly. I think he's too old. Hito UFA after 3 more seasons. Okay, good to know. Thank you. I still think the Canucks are making the playoffs because I don't think they're done. Remember, we have up until the trade deadline. Should have packaged Miller and Brock. That's a lot of money, though, going the other way. Hito is a good player if he can stay healthy. Thanks, Fillmore. They were 5-3-2, so they're 2 games over 500. Offer sheet Luke Hughes. I'm not sure about that. I would love to watch the game with you, but I got dinner at 7. But by recording this vlog, I'm not sure if I'm going to get home before dinner. I got to call Gil as soon as I'm done at 5 o'clock. Yeah, that's true, actually. Can you imagine 2,600 on a watch party? No, but I got some other stuff to do for sure. What do you think the lineups would look like? Have the Canucks tweeted it out? The Canucks usually tweet out their lines and stuff on warm-up. I'm just trying to see if anyone's actually... here. So DeBrusk... Yeah, I can show you this real quick. So for the lineup tonight, it is this, according to Bachelor. DeBrusk, Pettersson, and Besser is your top line. Suter is between Garland and Joshua. Bluger, Carlson, Hoglander, Ratu, PDG, Heinen. Hughes, Myers, Forbert, Hronik, Susie, Jolson. So let's presume Mancini doesn't make the top 6D. And remember, Sherwood's still hurt. And then we have Chytil coming. So let's say when Sherwood is healthy and Chytil's here, I keep that your top line as Pettersson, DeBrusk, and Besser for sure. I would keep Suter, Garland, and Joshua together. I would put Chytil on a third line with Sherwood and Heinen. That's what I would do. My third line would be Chytil with Sherwood and Heinen. They got some speed there. And then my fourth line would then be, or Hoglander. And then my fourth line would be Bluger between probably like a Hoglander and PDG. That's what I would do when everyone is back. So that means Ratu and Carlson aren't in my lineup. So yeah, some quick thoughts of what they might do when everyone's healthy. Horvat was UFA during the trade. JT has 5 more years. Should the Canucks get more? I see what you're saying. Yeah, I think Horvat, but JT was making a lot more, right? But yeah, you had to get something for Horvat. So you could argue that maybe you should have got more for Horvat. Good point. Good point, Gerald. What are we going to do when Ben runs over PD? We'll see tonight. If you could have redone keeping Horvat or JT, would you have kept Bo instead? I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure, to be honest with you. It's easy to say now. Would Horvat have performed as well as Miller did last season? With JC's absence of foreshadowing to PD's production, it's kind of weird how that happens. You kind of wish that PD would be just as good with Miller in the lineup for sure. Knuckleback with another donation. Thank you. Let's give some love to Knuckleback in the chat. Yes. Sweden versus US. Opening faceoff, Miller lines up against PD. No, I am not going to watch the game today. Well, actually, I'm going to watch the first hour and a half now. And then while I clean up my office, it's a crazy mess because I moved all the stuff around so I could do my show. And then I'll get the family to pick me up on the way to dinner so I can watch the game. Addition by subtraction, he had problems with Green, Horvat, Shen, PD. Yeah, Carlton, you may have missed that. I said that exact same thing when someone asked me about my reaction to the trade. You might think that the return is underwhelming, but I do think that that is a big factor for sure. Okay, this is what I'm going to do, you guys. I'm going to do, even though it's the end of my show, I'm going to do my mid-show sponsor read because I do want to thank Jason Lim and Van City Experts and talk about how you guys can get involved. And then don't forget, Parker and me will be doing our show at 10 p.m. tonight. So I'm going to do this mid-show sponsor read, even though it's my end-of-show sponsor read. If you want to just hang tight for it, and then I'll do a quick wrap-up on the other side. So I always do my mid-show sponsor read by starting off by thanking Jason Lim of Van City Experts. Thank you to my channel sponsor, Jason Lim of Van City Experts Real Estate. At Van City Experts, their experience, knowledge, and expertise can serve you well in navigating through the real estate market and will help you to choose the best home or condo in the Greater Vancouver area that best suits your and your family's needs. Shout out to my secondary sponsor, Coach Patrick Liu, weight loss coach. You can check him out at coachpatrickliu.com/clay and receive a free 5-day workout when you do so. Thank you to Gassy Jack Art, maker of the fine artwork back home in my home studio. And thank you to Vessi Footwear. Use the link tinyurl.com/VessiClay and receive a free pair of socks off your next purchase of Vessi shoes. Thanks to everyone who's purchased Canuck Clay merch at canuckclay.threadless.com. I appreciate your support. And on your way out tonight, you can subscribe to the channel, you can like the video, you can leave a donation, you can gift a membership, buy your own membership, upgrade your own membership. use your monthly membership message. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be putting this on a podcast, but I certainly appreciate all of you joining me on extremely short notice. No notice, actually. I just turned on my camera, my secondary light, my secondary mic, but we made it work. And I hope you guys enjoyed this time together. I'm so grateful. 2,600 people were here. There are 300 on YouTube and another 2,300 watching on X. Again, it's not about the numbers, but certainly my biggest stream in terms of total numbers, spontaneous stream, not because of me, of course, because of the big news. I want to thank Parker for joining me and for not kicking me out of our partnership. And I'll stop saying that now, but I appreciate his understanding. And I appreciate all of you taking, whether it was the full hour or some of today. I really appreciate you taking the time to be with me tonight. And finally, thanks to everyone who went above and beyond with their generosity. Knuckleback used a monthly membership message. Legendary Lucas Gates, monthly membership message. Justin, a monthly membership message. Justin with the donation. Spartan with the donation. Knuckleback gifting a membership. Clue with a donation. And Knuckleback with another donation. I appreciate all of you for your generosity. And I appreciate all of you for being here. 10 o'clock tonight. Me and Parker, Canucks After Dark channel, not this channel. And I really appreciate all of you guys being here. So don't forget to rate the bad joke out of 10. Enjoy the Canucks game. I predict a 4-2 Canucks win. Got to go with my favorite score on a night of big news for the Vancouver Canucks. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, and take care of each other. I think I've used this joke before, but I like it so much, I'm going to use it again. I actually went to go see a psychic yesterday. Yes, a psychic. And I knocked on her front door and she says, "Who is it?" So I left. Not a good psychic. God bless and go Canucks go. Booyah.